Okay, so this is how I would like for you to envision the mediation space. Right now, you are all here with me in the main session, okay? Before we started this mediation, I had set up some breakout rooms. I created petitioner's room, respondent's room, and lawyer's room. So I always recommend that you have 3 rooms set up in case you need to use them to do caucus style mediation. However, we will spend most of our time today in the main session because I know Dr. Manousso is a big proponent of conference style mediation. So in her mediation, she may spend most of her time in the main session, okay? However, as you need to break people into rooms, you'll be able to move them into the individual rooms so that you can speak to them privately and so that they can be in their own rooms with their lawyers privately and confidentially. But before you guys entered into the main room, you were here where I admitted you. You were in the breakout room, and I'll make it a little bigger. You should have seen this. I set up my waiting room under my settings. I believe you can only do this if you have a pro license or a business license, not a basic. So you have to sign up and upgrade. I set up my mediation waiting room to basically say, welcome to the waiting room. So my clients know that they've reached the right person. I personalize it with my photograph, and I tell them a little bit of note here that if they are waiting here for a really long time, to call my office or email me because I don't know, maybe I'm busy, my dog got in the way, I had to run out of the office and I'm not able to connect with them. So this is what everyone will see, no matter who it is. My attorneys will meet it, will be here. My clients will be here. Everyone will always start here. I don't want anybody jumping into the main session automatically. That is dangerous. You don't want people to just be able to pop in to the main session without you admitting them first. For security, for confidentiality, for impartiality, there are many good reasons to make sure everyone will stay here first. But before the waiting room, there would have been a pre-waiting room. Now, you did not see this pre-waiting room, and I'll make you see it now. You did not see this pre-waiting room because I was already sitting in the main session waiting for you. So because I was already there hosting the meeting, you entered right into the waiting room. But let's say I had a fat tire and I could not, as a mediator, get ready to prepare for you. If you showed up on time, you would see this. You would see, please wait. It would have the date and time the meeting's gonna start. And then you would realize there must be a problem because the mediator is not ready. So, note to self, make sure that you are always ready in the main session, waiting for your clients to show up. Waiting for your clients to show up so that they will be able to see this. If you are not here waiting for your clients, they will not even see your waiting room. They will see the pre-waiting room that basically tells them that you are not yet ready. And by the way, on the same, before the pre-waiting room, you guys should also have seen this today, right? The join a meeting, where you may have clicked the link or you may have typed in the 9-digit code, but you would have seen join a meeting, and then you would have seen your password entry where you typed in Manousso, okay? And so you would have to have done these first before you would have gotten to the waiting room. Okay, so this is very important. I don't want anyone to forget to set up their waiting room, because unless you set it up and turn it on under your settings, people who type in the password to join are going to land right into the main session. Want to make sure this is very, very clear so you guys understand the structure of how we got here today. Okay, now let's move to let's move to a couple of the tools before we move into beginning the mediation and going back to the main session, and then being able to show you how to move into breakout rooms. Let's go back and show you the share screen button, okay? The green button that you guys should all see. Here we go. When I clicked my share screen button, up popped these options. I can share my screen, I can share my whiteboard, and I can share my iPhone, iPad if I have it. So those are under basic. You're going to spend most of your time just under these two options: share my screen or share my whiteboard. Okay? Advanced, don't worry about it, just ignore it. You almost never will need to use those tools. Files, again, surprisingly, don't worry about it because there's a better way to share files, and that is through the chat feature, which I'll share with you soon. Because when this says files, it's really meaning cloud files through Google Drive, Google, Dropbox, Microsoft OneDrive, Box.com, and I think you may be complicating it for yourself if you're using cloud files. So I prefer you just use your desktop files, such as your MSA, for example, that you might have in Word version on your desktop. And we'll share that later through the chat feature, not through these files. And by the way, if you were right now to click your share screen, this will pop up as well. You can do that, but please don't share your screen. What you'll see are these three and lots of other windows because you probably have other applications open on your computer. You can share specific applications or you can share your entire screen. I prefer to share my entire screen. Makes my life easier. I just want to make sure I'm going to have a clean desktop. Okay, so this is what the share screen looks like. And now let me show you what the whiteboard looks like. Let me minimize this and go to the whiteboard. And if I click whiteboard, this is what I see as a mediator. I'm able to share my whiteboard with everybody and have them brainstorm, put thought bubbles, put ideas, put bullet points, whatever it is that I might need to utilize. Yeah, some people could use a Word document to do this by sharing their screen. However, this is a really, really neat tool because you're able to bring in basically all kinds of items, whether it's a photograph or it's a screenshot, a partial screenshot of a document. You guys can have a whiteboard on your screen so everyone can work together, and you can actually share your whiteboard so everyone can co-type and share this board. Again, just for brainstorming, really. I know in the physical world, some mediators may actually have a board in their room. I've gone to lots of mediations where we've had that. I've used it myself in mediations where I have a board in my room to show my clients in person some ideas. Well, this one is a great tool for that so you can replicate that experience. Okay, so I've shared with you most of those screens, and now let's go back. Let me bring you guys back. Stop sharing my screen. Okay, and so now we're going to move toward the actual process of starting the mediation, meaning scheduling it, starting it, and then hosting it. All right, so now let's talk about how to best schedule the mediation. The number one problem I always hear, guys, is how do you make sure that when you're dealing with non-tech savvy people, they're not going to take forever to get on, okay? If you're spending the first 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes getting people, on a cell phone, hey, click here, click there, you're going to waste a lot of time. especially when people have paid you. If people have paid you and you're making good money through this, you want to make sure that you're not wasting everyone's time by having a system that is slow and cumbersome. So I'll show you what we're doing at Instant Mediations so you can kind of have an idea of the quickest ways to start, but you don't have to do it this way, but I'd like to show you the best practice. Okay, so I'm going to go back and share my screen and then show you our website and how we quickly get people online right away. And this is where the name InstantMediations.com came from, so that people have an extremely fast experience. So sharing my screen. And now I'm going to go to Chrome. So here is all we tell our clients. We say, go to InstantMediations.com and click Start Mediation. That's it. They click Start Mediation and it takes them to the start page. Okay. And then they will click Join and enter in their 9-digit code, which I had already provided to them in their confirmation letter confirming their mediation. That's it. If you can get it down to a system that's that fast, you're going to have a lot of happy clients who are able to engage you within seconds, not minutes. Okay. Now, you don't have to do it this way. You could, of course, just send them the link, which should take them to this join page. Okay. Which would then ask for them to enter the password, which will then ask for them to start the download process. On our website, we actually have some explanations to visually show some people who may need to see the process in action. So on the very bottom, let's say they're on their phone. Again, they go to the start page and it opens up the join meeting for them to type in their code. Once they type in their 9-digit code, they click join meeting, which then asks them to type in their password, which finally brings them into the mediation. Same experience into on the desktop. Join up, get to the start page, join the meeting, and automatically it should start downloading. I'm going to stop sharing real quick and type something in the chat called, this is what you should give to your clients if they don't even have the Zoom app installed on their phone, or they don't even, they don't know where to start, right? They just have a laptop and they want to show up. Give them zoom.us/support/download. When they click that link, it will automatically start the download process of the Zoom application on whatever system they're using. If they're using Android, an iPhone, the desktop, it will automatically trigger in a download to begin. So that's the fastest way I've learned to get people on using the actual app. Okay, they may actually already have the Skype app built in, they may have WhatsApp built in, but for them to have the Zoom app, that's the quickest way. Instead of sending them to the Play Store, instead of sending them to the App Store, just tell them, go to this link, click it, it will automatically start the download process for them. It's the quickest way to get them online. And once they have that, they just go to the join, put in their 9 digits, and you are live. Okay, and we'll talk later about under your settings, what they're going to experience once they come on to the mediation. Okay, which should be the waiting room, of course, because that's the most important thing before you admit people in. All right, I'm going to next. Okay, so continuing down this path of hosting the mediation. Okay, so you now know how to quickly get the people to start the mediation. But before that, you have to actually schedule the mediation. Let me share my screen, and I'm going to schedule a fake mediation real quick. Okay, so I am in my Zoom account. So I will go to zoom.com, zoom.us/meeting. And now I am in my meetings tabs. And you can see the one that we are in today. And you guys can also see the virtual happy hour we have later tonight. So anybody, you guys are all invited. Okay. So I'm going to schedule a new meeting. So when you're ready to start your mediation, well, to begin scheduling your mediation, just schedule a new meeting. And we're going to name the meeting correctly. So let me call this John Doe and Jane Doe mediation. Okay? The topic is very important. This topic is what is automatically going to fill in on your waiting room so that people know that they're in the right place. The description, I leave it blank. The template, I don't bother. When, let's say this mediation is going to be Monday, and let's say I typically do either 9 a.m. mediations or 1 p.m. mediations. Let's say it's going to be at 1 p.m. And I typically set my mediations for a typical 4 hours. Note, it does not matter what you put in here. It's not like Zoom is going to just turn off the mediation once you reach 4 hours. This is simply what you should type in to tell people what they should expect in terms of length for the mediation. So people know, are they going into, let's say, a half-day mediation or a full-day mediation, a customary 4 or 8 hours as we have here in Texas. Now, another note, Zoom's mediation can last up to 24 hours. You can stream up to 24 hours if you have the pro or business plan. But however, Zoom will automatically end the mediation if there is no activity. There's some pointers for this. For example, if you're the only one on a call, after 40 minutes, it's going to kick you off. So as long as there's at least 2 people, it's going to keep you on. Okay? But you can, in theory, mediate up to 24 hours live. Next, my time zone will be fine. It's already selected automatically. I'm not going to select recurring meeting. Registration, I am not going to pick registration. I'll tell you why. It's going to create one extra additional step for your mediation parties to have to figure out. It's the less steps you have from scheduling the mediation and starting it, the better. Okay, we will take care of the password later, which will provide our security. Don't worry about registration. Schedule for myself. You will only see this if you've already set somebody else up in your organization to be able to schedule for you. Right now, Natalia is able to schedule for me and I for her. That's why I see this option. But you will not even see this option if you are solo doing your own mediations. Meeting ID, always automatically generate. You don't want your personal meeting ID, your PMI, floating around the internet. Okay, you don't want stalkers. You don't want people to be able to show up and basically call you virtually using your PMI. So always do an automatic, anonymous meeting code by choosing generate automatically. Next, meeting password. This is the big one. In the world of hacking and cyber crimes, you want to make sure that the only participants who are going to show up to your Zoom meeting are going to be people who have the password. And when I click it, I'm going to make sure I put a word. So since these parties are called John Doe and Jane Doe, I will put Doe. So it can be really easy. In fact, they may really be non-technical. I'm just gonna put Doe, small letters. Maybe that may be more confusing. Never mind. Let me just put capital D for these people. Okay. Next, under my settings, I already told it to always pick hosts and participants. I want to see everyone on video right away. Don't say people can be the participant can be off video when they begin the mediation. Why? You're gonna spend the first 5 to 10 minutes trying to teach them how to turn the video on. Do it for them right here. Audio, same thing. Always let them to be able to get on by telephone or computer audio, because they may be somewhere where they have bad reception and they gotta jump on the telephone to be able to call in to the Zoom meeting. So I always pick both. Meeting options. I never pick enable join before host, because I don't want my clients getting to the mediation and having a fight before I even show up. I never pick mute participants upon entry unless I'm going to do a 30-person meeting like I'm doing now. I will select enable waiting room, and I'm not going to select only authenticated users can join. That's why I'm doing my password, so I can just validate the people who show up, unless of course they give their friends the password, but I'm hoping that doesn't happen. And then finally, I'm going to create my breakout rooms in case I need them, and I'm not going to select record meeting automatically. In fact, I'm probably not ever going to be recording my mediations due to the confidentiality rules that we have here in my jurisdiction. But let me go ahead and create my breakout rooms now. Create my rooms, and right here I see the plus sign. Let's create the first room. It's called breakout room 1. I'll click on it and rename it to petitioner's room. Okay. Click out of it. Hit plus sign again. Click on it. Let me do my respondents room. Okay. Click out of it. And finally, I will create my lawyer's room, because the lawyers sometimes like to talk to each other and have a little hallway conversation. So this is just a location where the lawyers can go and have a chat if they need to discuss what should happen in their case. Now I'm going to click save, and right there my breakout rooms have been saved. Let me go back for 1 minute. Notice I'm not going to add participants into each room. In fact, I don't even know who's gonna show up to my mediation. I mean, I hope I know that petitioner will show, respondent will show, and both the lawyers will show. But what if they don't all come? This is why I don't bother putting down the names. I simply create the rooms, and we can worry about that later. I will click save. And now that I've gone through all the details, I'll click Save Mediation, and it will give me my confirmation page with my customized meeting ID. And this is the magic number. This is all I need to give to my clients. Sure, you can give them the link if you want. That's fine. Always make sure you give them the password, of course. That's important as well. The meeting ID and the password are the two most important things. And in fact, sometimes the only things I give to my clients, the meeting ID and the password. And I tell them to go back to the start page on InstantMediations.com so they can click it and put in these two pieces of information. Now, if you're not using our platform, that's fine. You could just go to copy the invitation, which gives you all the details you need, including the phone numbers, and you will simply share this information by copying it and pasting this into your confirmation email, sending it to your parties so they can have all the details they need. Again, the most important thing being their meeting ID and their password. Okay, so and then when I'm ready, of course, I will click start this mediation, this meeting, and my clients will join me live. Piece of cake. That's how you schedule a mediation. And by the way, on my YouTube channel, what I've just gone through, I do have it here as a 10-minute video. In case you're interested to play it back, I go step by step through how to schedule a mediation. That's on our Instant Mediation YouTube channel. Okay, So now let's go back to, just a refresher. The parties have received their information, they got their code, they go to the uh, the start page, they go to start mediation, they go to join a meeting, they type in their code, and now they will get to see my waiting room. They get to see, so the parties will type in their pass. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Sorry about that. One moment. Hello, hello, hello. Are you guys still there? Hello, are you still there?
Yes, we're
Okay.
fine. It seemed to flip for a minute, it froze, but you're back now.
Okay, great, great. I don't know what happened. Oh, okay, guys, I got off the phone with Zoom today. I spoke with a rep who said that their engineers are working on this. The file share feature in the chat has been down. And so also was the people skipping the waiting room and jumping right in. They told me they're working on it because we were having some glitches earlier today, just letting you know what I had heard. So of course, you never know when things are gonna go south. But my mouse is frozen. Can you still hear me?
No, you seem to be frozen, but we can hear you. Your picture
Okay.
now you're animated again, but for a few minutes there you keep going in and out being frozen.
Okay.
I think it's just that we're at a time that the Zoom is overloaded also. That
Yes,
seems to be another
possibly.
issue. Yeah.
Yeah. And this would be a great segue actually to talk real quick. Whenever you do have the tech problems that may come up, you guys need to make sure you have a backup plan. Okay. Your backup plan should be, in my opinion, a freeconferencecall.com phone number so that people can just call the 800 number, put in their backup number, and be able to still continue on with the mediation. You hear everyone just fine. It'll be clear. You just will not be able to see everyone, but you guys can continue on with the meeting and basically do a phone-based meeting. Okay, my computer mouse is still frozen. I'm not able to move this, but you guys can still hear me, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
we can. You 1 minute you're animated, 2
Okay.
seconds later you're frozen, and it's
Okay.
going.
I think we're good now. My mouse can move again. Okay, great. So now let me stop sharing. Okay. Oh, that was okay. So that was a little scary, but this again, no technology is perfect. You need to make sure you have a backup plan. What happens when Zoom goes down? If Zoom goes down for a client, they should be able to, at least if you give them their complete Zoom information, dial in so they can call and talk to you by telephone. Okay, just like one of these individuals did today when they called in. However, if Zoom goes down for you, that's going to be a bigger problem. And so you want to be able to at least email the parties and tell them, everyone, I am on the conference call. Please, according to the plans that we have put in place on the confirmation letter, go and dial in. You don't want to advertise that too much. I don't think that's a good idea because you don't want the parties to just say, well, I want to use that instead. I don't want to go on camera. Okay. So because Zoom's software has so many benefits of being able to let you share documents, share the screen, and then manage the participants, by muting everybody. You can't do all those things on the conference call setup. So make sure that you tell people the benefits. All right, everything seems to be working fine now, including my mouse. So now I've taken you up to where you schedule the mediation. The parties have received their invitation. They have their code. They go to the start. They begin the mediation, and they're in the waiting room. Now we are going to be in a main session like we are now. So I have admitted you guys into the mediation, and all of you participating are in my mediation. And since I had already created my breakout rooms at the time of scheduling, they're also going to be right here under breakout room on my dashboard. Okay, so now you will begin, before you start people into their breakout rooms, you should have a main session, a general session, where you begin with what? Your rules, your agreement, your privacy, your confidentiality. Okay, you need to begin discussing these things so that people know what's expected and they understand what the policies are that you've set up. Okay, I know Dr. Manousso will have, for example, an agreement and privacy thing that she had probably already sent out to the parties. They should have reviewed them already, okay? But sometimes people don't bother reading those rules. So when you begin your mediation, you need to address the agreement, okay? Meaning this mediation is confidential, okay? That they understand that they have the power to make decisions on their own behalf. That you, as a mediator, you have a certain role. You're an impartial neutral. You're not there to be a judge to force them or twist their arms into a settlement agreement. Okay, so go through all the policies and rules that you guys had already been using when you got trained and that you've been using in your own in-person mediations. Nothing's changed. That's one thing I want to stress. In this experience of online mediations, nothing has really changed. And that's a big selling point to the client, because if clients feel that this is somehow worse than the regular experience, one, they're not going to want to pay you. Two, they're going to find then a reason to not settle the case. You want to have people understand that this is a legitimate experience. It's a regular mediation. You are just as credentialed and qualified to do the mediation, just like you were the day before you started doing them online. Okay, so you are now in the main session and you're going through your rules, your policies, your ground rules, yada, yada. And you start the main session. As you're talking to the parties, you discover that the parties need to be split up. You discover that you need to speak with one party, with their lawyer privately, and you'll come back to the other parties later. So let's move on to how to show you how we're going to do our breakout rooms. I'm gonna have to share my screen one more time to show you what I'm seeing when the parties are going into the breakout rooms. And after I show you that, I'm gonna come back, stop sharing my screen, come back to you, and I'm going to put you guys into your own breakout rooms. Remember, there's 3 of them. So there's 30 of you, so I'll put probably 10 of you into the petitioner's room, 10 of you into the respondent's room, 10 of you into the lawyer's room, and you all experience it. It'll take a couple seconds to move you into your rooms, and then you'll be able to only see a few of your colleagues on this video. All right, so let me share my screen to show you please.
Yes, I'm sorry. And I want to bring one thing up that's extremely important at this point.
Go ahead.
I think you're working ahead to conserve a little bit of time here.
Yes.
But of course, after they've done the agreement to mediate and the confidentiality, that needs to be signed if they haven't signed it already.
Correct.
But on the online programs, I, of course, would send this out to the clients. I have their signature already, where I've had them send it back to me because, of course, we're paid before they come into the mediation. So that's the time that would be sent back. And then we're going to have our opening. And so everybody is going to have that opportunity, looking at each other, going to respond to what's brought them to the mediation that day, what they're hoping to get out of the conversation, and giving them that opportunity to talk to each other at that time. So you're still in conference, and you're giving them that opportunity to start negotiation. So that's where you are now. Just, I know that you're trying to save a little bit of time. So just so that my students aren't confused.
Absolutely.
That they've done, so you're probably a good hour to 2 hours now into the mediation. Now that's where you're going, that you might want to caucus, because usually the attorneys want to talk to their clients and privately, and then maybe you'll go and meet with them. So that, just so that people understand the timeline and they're not
Absolutely.
confused on
Yes. No,
the
thank you.
process.
You know, thank you for clarifying that. I made it seem like this was a 10-second
Yeah, an instant.
experience.
I know you're trying to brand it. I
No,
know, no.
but
I knew
yeah,
where you were going, but I
yeah,
just wanted to make sure they understood. We have
exactly.
very new mediators that have come into the
Got it.
process today. So
Got it. So yeah, in that stage, you'll be basically having the real mediation experience, right? The stuff you guys learned when you were being trained, and going back, getting folks to just vent and get the things out, and you being a good mediator. But there's gonna be a point that you may need to break people up, and so now we're going to go into that. Before that, though, two things that Dr. Manousso just touched on. One, signatures. When you guys are having the parties sign their agreements that you should have already sent them, people never read them or whatever ahead of time. If they have not already signed it, remember, you should have your agreement, like I have on my desktop right now. My agreement PDF is sitting right there. And I also have my Google Chrome browser open, minimize, it's open. And I have my dochub.com account open, so I can quickly drag my mediation agreement into DocHub and click submit so the parties can sign it electronically. I'll do the same thing with my MSA, with my mediation agreement later at the end of the mediation, so they can quickly sign. Okay, you want to make the process of getting signatures as smooth as possible. Okay, none of this, oh, I'll get the signatures later today after people leave the mediation. You know what's going to happen? People are going to change their minds when they go home and talk to somebody else. So you need to get your signatures before the mediation is over. And the best way to do that is to have a tool. You can do DocuSign, DocHub, which I do because I like it because it's dirt cheap. SignNow.com, Adobe Sign. You guys can enroll in your own program, whatever you feel comfortable with. We just use DocHub because it's like $6 a month, and it's like $5 a month for the whole year if you pay up front. And they let you annotate and do other things as well. But I do know, it was confirmed to me recently that DocHub is not yet HIPAA compliant. They are working on it. And so just in case you're mediating something that deals with hospital system, you may or patient records, medical records, you may want to make sure that you're using Sign Now or DocuSign because they are HIPAA compliant. They're just a little bit more pricey. But I haven't had a problem with DocHub in 3 years, so this is why I kind of swear by them and what I've been using. And Dr. Manousso also hit on that they've already paid. So you would have had to have set up your own payment system. Look, however, whatever you use, right? I might use LawPay, or you may use Venmo or PayPal or Stripe or Google Pay or Apple Pay. There's so many different systems out there that allow you to be able to receive money. Just make sure that you've already confirmed that in advance, what your fee's gonna be, how they're gonna pay. It'll make your job easier. Make sure people pay before the mediation starts. Oh, obviously, otherwise you may have a problem, and it would be kind of awkward having the argument during the mediation. Okay, so now let me show you my PDF for the breakout rooms, and let me share my screen. Here we go. Okay, so again, back to my desktop, and you see the documents that I already have in place for this meeting. And let me go to my training files and let me find the breakout rooms PDF. Here it is. Okay. So this is what I'm seeing first when I click breakout rooms on the bottom of my dashboard. Here's what I'm seeing. I see the rooms, the 3 rooms that I had created when I had scheduled the mediation, okay? In this one, I had called them petitioner wife in her lawyer caucus room, respondent husband in his lawyer caucus room, and the lawyer's visit room. And on the right, I see the word assign next to each of the rooms. This is what I'm gonna click on to get to pop up everyone's name so I can assign them to their room, okay? Let's go to the next page. So now when I click assign, out pops up the names of all the participants who are currently in the meeting. In this scenario you're looking at on my screen, only husband John Doe had shown up. So I'm going to do this experiment just with him. However, if I click these words assign, I'm going to see pop up here everybody's names, okay? And I will select checkbox by checkbox on who I want to be assigned to the room. So when I do this in real life in a few minutes with you guys, I'm gonna have all 30 of you pop up on the side, just like husband John Doe. And I'm going to select your names one by one, and I'm gonna assign you to each room. And as I do, it will start putting you over here. Let's see what it looks like. So now when I've clicked assign for John Doe, you can see that it moved him, it assigned him into the respondent husband and his lawyer caucus room. And this is why his name is here. And the number 1 is by the respondent's room because he is the only person in the room right now. Okay. Now, if anybody shows up after I start assigning, they're gonna be unassigned. Just FYI, there's gonna be a 4th space called unassigned, and you're gonna see those names there. That's just in case somebody else comes up later. But for now, the people who are participating in this current meeting are gonna be assigned. Before I move on to show you the next screen, let me show you what the options are under the options button. So when you click options, you see some things you need to be very specific about. First one says, move all participants into breakout rooms automatically. No, I'll do that myself manually. Next, allow participants to return to the main session at any time. Normally, no. I don't want my mediation participants to be able to leave their caucus room and walk right back into the main session whenever they want. I want to be the one as the mediator in control to move them back into the main session when I'm ready for them to come back, okay? However, for the purposes of this training, I'm going to leave this on so that you can see the option once I've moved you guys. So you can see how you guys could leave the caucus room. So it's up to you. I wish Zoom had a way where you could say, allow the parties, allow the lawyers to be able to leave the caucus room, but the parties have to stay. But right now, you don't have that option. This is, okay. This is for everybody or nobody, okay? It's that all participants will be able to return or no one will be able to return. So normally, again, I don't have this checked because I don't want people to be able to leave their caucus room if they get upset about something to come back to the main session. Next, breakout rooms close automatically after 30 minutes. No, I will choose when the breakout rooms close. And then finally, countdown after the breakout rooms, and then the countdown. Well, if you let it be 60 seconds, which is the default automatically, it's going to give the people 60-second countdown on their screen that's basically saying, this breakout room is about to end. Please start wrapping up your conversation with your lawyer. That's the idea. You want to give people a chance to wrap up their conversation. This is why you should select countdown after the breakout room, after you close the breakout room, because you don't want to just click close breakout rooms and then everyone automatically gets interrupted and they're pushed back into the main session. You got to have a countdown. So give them a chance. But me, normally, I just put like 10 seconds or 15 seconds here, not 60. That's way too long. You don't have time for all of that. Okay, now we're going to click open all rooms in order to make John Doe live into his room. Because right now, he has only been assigned. He is not yet live into his room. How do I know that? Because there's not a green dot by his name. Once I click open all rooms, you're going to see a green dot by his name. Let's go. Here is where I have opened all rooms, and now I see a prompt that says you are invited to join the respondent's breakout room, John Doe, and John Doe will accept the invitation, which will automatically move him into the breakout room. Okay. Another reason, guys, why you should try to do your mediations by Zoom video, not Zoom telephone, because the people on the phone aren't going to have all these options. Okay, so again, everyone is in their breakout rooms, and me, I am in the main session still. This is why I see the ability to join each breakout room. Okay, let's see what happens when I click join breakout room. I click join breakout room and it says join respondent husband and lawyer caucus room, yes or no. If I click yes, I will be automatically moved into husband's breakout room as the mediator, so I can see him privately. I will no longer be in the main session. I will be with him having a private chat. Okay, here's what I see once I click yes, join. It says joining breakout rooms. I am being moved into the respondent's room. It may take a few minutes. By the way, this actually goes very fast. Then if I want to leave his room, it'll say return to the main session. Again, it might take a few seconds. Hopefully they have fast internet. I've noticed some glitches where people have really slow internet, and so this window stays open for quite a while until they moved. But just make sure you warn your parties, have patience. The transitioning of moving a lot of people into a breakout room at a time takes a few seconds, so everyone needs to have patience. Okay, now let's say I'm back in the main session, okay? Let's say I want to take husband who's still in his private room and I want to move him into his wife's room or the lawyer's room. I can do that. I just hover and click my husband's name and it gives me the option where I can move him to one of the other rooms. Currently, there's nobody in those rooms, but let's say wife was here and wife is in her wife petitioner's room over here, right? And husband says, hey, Mag, can I talk to my wife for a couple minutes privately? I'll say, let me get their consent. I'll join wife's room. I'll talk to wife and her lawyer. Hey, husband wants to talk to his wife privately. Is that okay with you guys? And they say yes. I will come back to the main session. I will go to husband's. I will click move to petitioner wife's room. And it will automatically transfer him into his wife's room. But I'm not going to want wife's lawyer in there. So what I can do is hover over the lawyer's name and go to move to lawyer's visit room and move him into the lawyer's visit room. The lawyer could, of course, leave the caucus room, but that's not a good idea. It's best to just put him into the lawyer's visit room. He can just stay there alone while I will stay in the main session alone, or I can move into the lawyer's room to be with him for a little bit of time. Okay, while people are in their rooms, here's one really cool thing you can do. How do you communicate with the parties? Because remember, you can't chat with them. Chatting when you're in the main session does not appear in the private session, nor does the chats that they're having in the private session appear in the main session. So this feature is really cool. We basically call it knocking on the door. Give me a second. I got somebody coming in. This is basically called knocking on the door, where you're knocking on everyone's door saying, hey, I gotta give a message, and everyone will be able to see this communication. You can broadcast a message. This an example. Hello, this is the mediator. I'm writing this message to all the rooms. Let's start wrapping up your conversations before I bring everybody back. And you'll see this in action in a few minutes when I bring you guys into your meeting room, okay, your caucus rooms. But let's say I might say a message like, I'm going into wife's room for a few minutes. I come back, and then let's say I'm going into husband's room for a few minutes. But whenever you broadcast, remember, everyone can see this message splash on their screen for about 5 seconds of what you just typed, okay? So obviously, you can't write a whole lot. I believe Zoom only lets you type maybe 50 characters. It may be a little longer, but you can't write a whole lot of characters here. Just short, quick messages, okay? And now I am about ready to close the rooms and bring everyone back into the main session, okay? Unfortunately, you don't have a way to close only one room or another room. You have to close all rooms simultaneously. If you don't want everyone in their caucus room, just make sure you give them the ability under the options to leave the caucus room. That's where they can come back into the main session while the other people can remain in their own caucus room talking until they're ready to come back to the main session. But normally, I will broadcast to everyone that I'm going to close the rooms so everyone can come back. Okay, so it's up to you how you want to do that. If you want some people to stay in the main session while others stay in the caucus room until they decide to leave, you got to make sure you turn on the options for that. Remember, the option was back up here. The allow participants to return to the main session at any time. This is where you need to click to let people be able to come back to the main session while others remain in their caucus room. Okay, so now we're ready to close our rooms. We click close our rooms, and here's what you see as a mediator. You see all breakout rooms will close in 53, 52, 51, whatever seconds. My seconds is maybe like 10 or 15 seconds, so it's going to be very short, and then it will bring everyone back. And across their room, they're going to see that the mediation is going to, the mediator is closing out the rooms. Get ready to come back to the main session. Okay, now let's try this, okay? And we're going to put you guys into your breakout rooms. And so let me do this for you. Let me stop sharing to see everybody back. All right, here we go. Dr. Manousso, I will go ahead and give anyone who wants it that PDF. Okay, I've already given it out to a lot of people who have asked for it. So I will actually share that PDF right now in the chat, and people can download it to their computers, okay? If you're on the phone and you can't download it, you can always email me later, and I will type in I'll just type in team@InstantMediations.com, and I can email that that PDF I just showed you. It will be a good cheat sheet for you, so for when you're going through the breakout rooms, okay? Note to self, I'm going to my computer to upload the document. But remember, guys, please, please, please close the document before you share it. Otherwise, it won't even share. Just a little tip, okay? So I'm going to go to, I'm sorry, I can't share the file because Zoom told me that the file system is unshareable right now. So forget that. I will have to just share it with Dr. Manousso. She can share it or some other method. Okay, or if you're in the community that we set up, community.instantmediations.com, you'll be able to, it's there because I had already put it on a post. And I'm putting the link right now.
Matt, go ahead and use yours so that they can get in touch with you.
Okay.
As some of the people online might want you even to co-mediate with them or to have further communication. So I think it's a good way of doing it.
No problem. Okay.
But I want to mention, he's selling his service. So don't everybody call and expect a freebie. that I don't think is appropriate. You wouldn't want it to happen to you, so you don't want it to happen to him.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Manousso. So yeah, we've given out a lot of free content, and so please focus on the free stuff we've already put out there. The YouTube channel is gonna be great. We're gonna keep putting little clips online, so for people's benefit. And some of these PDFs we're putting out, I don't mind sharing them because we want people to come into the network. If you join the community.instantmediations.com community network, it's a great place for all of us to get together and chat. So today we're going to be hosting our happy hour, so you can bring your own little margaritas and we can sip over the internet. Hey, there's a first time for everything, okay? Except for the people in Europe. I know, Mike Harvey. I know that the folks in Europe may be kind of late, doing this. But anyway, let me go ahead and move you guys to the mediation rooms. Now you saw the overview. On my screen, I'm going to go to breakout rooms, and I already have my 3 rooms created. I have petitioner's room, respondent's room, and lawyer's room, and it says not started, breakout rooms not started. And I'm going to hover over the word assign. And what it does is it lists the word, everyone's name on the side, as I showed you a second ago. It starts out with people with phone numbers, and it's going to be in ABC order. So I see Amelia Rodriguez as A, and Tiffany McCamille as the last one on the list in ABC order. So I'm going to click on 214, the 832, Amelia, Angela, go, Zana, go. All right, let's talk about this background thing. Look, whenever possible, have yourself against a nice backdrop. I turned off the allow virtual backdrops because I find that is so distracting to people. It creates more headaches. In fact, I find it a little cheesy. What I actually prefer is, I hope Zoom copies Microsoft, because they have blur background on, which blurs your background so you can't see anything, okay, which is a much better solution. But if you want to leave your virtual backgrounds on, fine, but I choose to turn mine off. The other thing is, please follow your own rules you set down. For example, your mediation agreement is going to say, make sure you're in a private location where you can have confidential conversations. Make sure that there's no other adults in the room. Make sure that kids are not going to be in the room, especially if it's involving a case involving the kids, right? And so please, as a mediator, don't be having your kids working in the background. It's going to delegitimize yourself, okay? Make sure that you follow the exact same rules. So I put in my agreement that if you have a comfort pet, great. Comfort dog, great. Whatever is going to make people feel comfortable, that might be a good tool, that a good thing that will help them. How about food? Snacks are fine, right? I mean, I got my water right next to me, and I got my bag of grapes right next to me, just because I love grapes and I love water. And so, well, actually, I don't love water. I love soda, but I'm trying to be healthy in front of you guys. But it's a good thing for you to tell people, it's okay. This is different. At a regular mediation, they might have coffee, they might have cookies on the table. In the private, you don't want people starving to death. Make sure that they have their snacks next to them so that they can be comfortable. The more comfortable people are, the better. Okay, so let me keep on going. So the 214 number, the 832 number, Amelia, Angela, Beth, Carolyn, Cindy, Danette, we're at 7, David Vong, Diane. Okay, these individuals I'm going to place into the petitioner's room. Now let me click assign for the respondent's room. Dr. Barbara Manousso, Fran Brockstein, Graham, Ingrid, Ken's iPhone, Kenneth, Kevin, Linda, Melissa, and Mike. These individuals are going to be in the respondent's room, okay? And finally, let me go to the lawyer's room. I'm going to have Natalia, Nayela, Patty, Kiana, Selena, Terry, and Tiffany. 7 individuals. So 10 in petitioner's room, 10 in respondent's room, 7 in the lawyer's room. And now I'm going to click open all rooms, which is going to automatically move everyone into their breakout rooms, okay? Just like you saw a second ago on the cheat sheet. So when I click all rooms, remember, tell your clients what to expect, okay? Remember, you're going to see an invitation. Click yes, or admit or enter. I forget what it says exactly. So make sure you stare at your computer so you can know. What usually happens is somebody inevitably forgets to click enter, and then we're waiting. Okay, I had a mediator call me just last, I think, Friday morning, and they're like, Mac, help. I'm starting my mediation. We can't find so-and-so. And so we decided, you know what, just cancel the breakout rooms and reassign them. There were only like 4 people. But if you lose someone, if someone doesn't remember to click to join, just make sure that you set the ground rules ahead of time. Tell them what to expect beforehand so they're not stuck wondering what happened. Where is everybody? Okay, you as a mediator, you can't assign yourself yet. You're gonna be in the main session, okay, and then you can join each person's room. Okay, and if you have a co-host, Dr. Manousso mentioned co-hosts a second ago, they're gonna be able to do breakout rooms as well. So they can move people around as well. And you may want that, okay? So here we go, guys. I'm going to open up all rooms, and then everyone, please join. And I will be messaging everybody through the breakout, through the broadcast feature, so you guys can hear from me. And we're doing this experiment for just 5 minutes, and then we'll end it. Here we go, opening all rooms right now.
You could be plotting the overthrow of the session.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
Oh,
Hey, guys. Good to finally meet you. Hi, Danette. Good to finally meet you. And I know there's lots of folks I haven't really met before, like Carolyn and David and Beth and Cindy.
Hi.
Good to see you. And I know we have someone on the telephone, and which was kind of cool. Zoom automatically moves the phone people into their caucus room, I believe, because I've never been on the phone before. I'm assuming that, but I've never had a problem. The phones people tend to be really easy. It's the people who forget to look at their screen where you're waiting for them to join, but they just haven't. So anyway, as long as you tell your clients what's going to happen, they'll be great. Okay, guys, I'm going to leave this breakout rooms. Oh yeah, one thing, double check on your dashboard. You should be able to see the settings that are important. 1, your ability to leave this room, and 2, your ability to call for help. Okay, if you needed me, if you can test it when I'm out in the main session. However, I'm not coming. Okay, so it's gonna say, like, let's say Cindy did it. It's gonna say Cindy has asked for help. Join or later, and I'll click later, and it'll make it go away. So just so I'm not ignoring you, I'm gonna go ahead and type that into the broadcast so everyone can, like I said, this one time because I'm out of breath. All right, I'm leaving the room. Bye bye.
Bye, man.
Okay.
And
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Let Graham just finish what he's saying. Go ahead, Graham.
Sorry,
well,
guys.
no, then I think it might be useful for everyone just to see that art. I'll send you the link anyway. If you
Right. No, I'm aware of all of it, and I've been reading on it the last few days. And Zoom is going into a special mode to try to close that gap. Some of the courts are only using Skype, but Skype doesn't have breakout rooms. And I don't think all of these you're exposed to a certain degree, but I don't think that you can stop doing it just because. So just people are aware of it. And I think that Mac has given us some options for going into the sessions that give the clients and a better sense of confidentiality and secured convenience.
Yeah, we'll talk about security in a minute.
Yes. Go ahead,
guys.
Mac.
Yeah, but I'll only stay here for a couple seconds. But you guys know how it works now, or you probably have seen it already.
It's
if you were
excellent.
doing
Yeah.
it. I was gonna say, um, yeah, we'll talk about all that stuff because, guys, this technology is gonna be changing so much. I expect Skype is gonna come big time with breakout rooms. It's gonna happen.
They have
So
to.
you gotta buy stock in
The courts are using it. The courts
Exactly.
are using it. Yeah.
Okay.
So they've got to rise to that.
All right, guys, go to one more room, okay?
And I also know that
Okay, I gotta go.
Jeff arrested.
They ask for help. Hi.
Hi.
You are muted yourself, Mac.
Sorry. Always happens.
We discuss all the matters of the world so far, so we're late.
Good to know. Good to know. So,
World peace.
yeah, well, good to see everyone. Oh, Kiana, is that you?
Yes.
Was here, but I don't see her any longer.
I'm here.
Look at you.
Oh, hi.
Small world, yeah. No,
Good to see you.
Kiana, we had a year-long case together, so we're very familiar with each other. Anyway, all right, guys, that's all. I'm just gonna say bye. I'm gonna go back to the main session, and then we'll bring everyone back. Okay?
Okay.
So, but you guys saw the options, right? Where you can call for help. That's important because your clients need to know how to call you. There's no way they can communicate from this room into the main session. And if you're there, you're alone, how are you going to know if you need to go in there and talk to them about something? Okay. So just make sure you tell your clients that when they're in the caucus room, they need to click down on the dashboard. There's one of the prompts that one of the options that says ask the mediator for help. I believe that's how it's
ask for help. It is what it says,
Yeah.
and it's just a question mark.
Yeah, it's a question mark. Yeah. So as long as you know that, then you'll be able to. So what I see as a mediator is it says, let's say it says Natalia asks for help at join or later. So people have been doing it in the other rooms, and I've been clicking later because I'm not joining them again. But if it was a real mediation, I would join so I can go be like, hey, what's up? What's going on? How can I help you? So they can tell me, whatever they got to tell me. All right. So please make sure you tell your clients about the help button. Ask for help. All right. Here we go. I'm leaving. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. Let me make sure everybody's back. Okay. Let me put my participants list on. and my chat box on. All right. David had said, you may want to suggest to your participants that when they set aside snacks for themselves, they pick soft snacks. Good point. Thank you for that. Soft snacks. Otherwise, you know what? I just had that experience. I was drinking water and I was wondering to myself if you guys can hear my. So yeah, if you don't have, like if you're eating chips, we're gonna be hearing crunch, crunch. But you know what? You can just mute yourself. So that's another solution. All right. So if everyone's back, just know I can bring everyone back into the caucus rooms at any time because the rooms were saved. The assignments were saved when I click breakout rooms. Okay. So it's a really easy way to go right back into the caucus rooms at any time. So you don't have to redo it all over again. Okay, in and out very fast. Okay. So what else? Okay, so
Matt, can I jump in for
please.
a minute? You're doing this has been outstanding, but I don't want to keep your time rolling even so far out.
Mm-hmm.
However, as we're looking around, remember this is a professional opportunity. You've got to look professional. So look around the screen. If you don't feel it looks professional, you might not be. You should men should have a tie on. A jacket would be nice, but you don't need one. It's okay. No, you look fine. You look professional. Be very careful about what's in your background. My computer's 4 years old. I can't get virtual. It doesn't work on my computer because it's 4 years old. It does on my little one, but that's not so comfortable. Yep. And so part of our expense now is I've got to get another computer once the store is open. Now I know this. And Fran looks nice. She's doing the star routine. But it also doesn't look great to have earphones on. This should all be built into your, you have it on Mac because you're doing a training. I understand that.
Yeah.
But I think it helps that you feel like you're in the room and not distancing yourself.
Okay.
So I understand this is just a training session, but to be mindful when you're actually mediating or wanting to use it for mediation, look the part. Okay.
So yeah, a couple of things. Let me talk about headphones because I may disagree with you, Dr. Manousso, respectfully on the headphones. So we usually, whenever we have these issues of online mediations, we talk about confidentiality and privacy, okay? And people always ask, how do you prevent the problem of the eavesdropper, of the person who you might live with, who's gonna be walking in? They're off camera, the mediator can't see them. So the parties who bring, other people in, during regular mediations in person, we always tell people, don't bring your friends, don't bring your family unless it was already agreed beforehand. But in the online world, especially when people are at home, you might have a hard time preventing other people from coming in. So here's the benefit, I think, of having the headphones, or at least the earbuds. One is an eavesdropper, somebody who's sitting in the room may be able to hear what the party is saying, right? But they will not be able to hear what the mediator is saying through the computer screen, or what the other participants are saying through their computer screen is gonna go right into their ears. So really it's more of a security thing, it's more of a confidentiality thing, just to make sure that people aren't gonna be able to hear a private conversation. Because I have a feeling that party A is not going to want to share certain things if they believe that somebody else is listening in. And I know that people are going to bring non-parties to a mediation. They're not supposed to, and they're going to have them sit off camera in a way you can't see. Okay, so that's the only reason I would say consider the headphones, because of the privacy element of the mediation. And of course,
and then I think it depends on the type of mediation and the level of what people are doing. That's a business decision.
Yeah.
And see, I would say that you hope that the mediator isn't wearing the headpiece, because to me that
exactly
would exclude,
You're right.
That would feel different.
Correct.
But you can't get the parties always to go out and get the headphone and do the whole part of it. So that there's a two sides to it. I think it makes a distance, but I understand what you're saying, and I think that's totally valid.
Yeah.
And especially if you're doing it, if you're the attorney, you feel like people are, you know, in a different place. Everybody's got a business decision, but
Correct.
you have 2 points of view here. That's all.
Exactly. Okay, so now we've talked, we've done, okay, we're back to the mediation, right? We went from start, we scheduled it, we started it, we joined the main session, we finish, we say we're gonna do breakout rooms, we go to the breakout rooms, and we're negotiating. Now 4 hours has elapsed. And through all that experience, we were able to brainstorm some solutions, brainstorm some ideas. Before I forget, Natalia, make sure you take a note for that, what Dr. Manousso just said, because I think that's actually a good point. The mediator does not necessarily need headphones. Because I never thought about that. The mediator doesn't, it should have a private place. Right, all right, anyway. But you've been through the mediation process, and now you are at the point where you're finishing up by drafting the MSA. On my desktop, I have my template already prepared, you know, with my typical bold language that I'm supposed to have by law, and my warnings and all that, and my style of my case. And now I'm going to be typing up the terms, because I'm a, well, what do you call it, Dr. Manousso? A scrivener, right? Yeah, the person who's going to
A
be
scribe. You're the scribe. The
Correct.
mediator's the scribe. The parties. Some of the items might be shared, because before you get to this point, it's sometimes very nice to use your whiteboard. You have your points.
Yep.
Or you can show your Word document that you're working on on the screen, so people can be drafting, because you want the parties to be giving their language. You're not an attorney. Even if you are an attorney, you are not in the role of attorney. If they've brought attorneys, after you've done your MSA, one of the attorneys might then put it into more of a legalese for the case.
Correct.
So that's one of the distinctions, but
So,
you said that already.
Yeah, let me show you that experience. So me, I share my screen. I'm with my parties. The parties have an idea. I go to my mediation MSA, my template that's already prepared. However, let's say I was doing John Doe's divorce. So put my style, put my name, the parties agree. However, now the party's name, I leave my blanks open, and these are all my standard, you know, yeah. And so then I will go down to my paragraph 10. The parties have agreed to the following. And so I will start typing up the terms of the agreement, okay, and I will just type away to my heart's content, and I will tell the parties that they are going to be signing off on this now. Lucy lawyer, Bob lawyer, the mediator, and I could even do my party's initials. But now I need to get this MSA signed off on if they've agreed to it. A practice most mediators would be to do a first draft, a second draft, to have the parties review the mediation agreement. And so in the physical world, they might be typing this in another office and maybe printing it out, give people the first copy.
I do it right there. I do it right there.
Got it. And
we all do it together. I put it up on a screen.
Got it.
When I'm doing it, I have it on a screen. So this part is not that different.
Yeah, exactly.
You have more of a lawyer orientation. I'm doing it as more of a mediation orientation.
Yes.
But I'm typing it right in front of them. They're helping me provide the information. And then in this case, you're talking about family, which is going to be what a bulk of people are going to do.
Yeah.
But there's civil cases, so that's a little different too.
Correct. And so in my practice, I would, you know, go through the MSA. If I know that a lot of lawyers that I know typically do more caucus style, and because of that, people didn't have the benefit of being together to iron out this thing. But let's say you had a very cantankerous, somebody else is coming in. Oh, someone's chatting. Okay. Let's say we had a very cantankerous, emotionally driven mediation, and you end up having to leave the parties in caucus for the very end of this the mediation, you then you can go to the caucus, share your screen there too, and keep on going. Or is this term okay? Is that term okay? What are you wanting to add? Okay, like go back and forth between the rooms in order to finalize and tweak until you go from draft 1, draft 2, draft 3. Some mediators may still share, like you can save this as a PDF, share it into the chat so everyone can have it, they can look at it, spend a few minutes. Everyone needs to take a break, take 20, 30 minutes, take a break, walk away, stress, look at it, think about it, come back after we reconvene for about 30 minutes, and then keep on going, and then you finalize the mediation. Now that my MSA is ready, and all the parties agree, this is the term, these are the terms they're going to agree to, I am so happy I have successfully done my online mediation. I'm going to, don't save that. I will save it as a PDF or convert it to a PDF, and I will now take it, open up my Doc Hub, okay, which is what I use. I will upload it into Doc Hub, and I will send it to their emails for everyone to sign. That's it. Okay, so let me take you off this. Let me go back to the full view. Okay, you guys will see me now. And so the steps that you've gone through are just the exact same steps you would have gone through in real life. Don't be scared of online mediations. You just need to now convert everything to a virtual mode. Okay, Dr. Manousso was already typing up the things as she was going along. Well, nothing's gonna change for her on that, right? So if you were doing it more old school and you were having people sign off, with a pen, and you were making multiple copies, that's gotta stop in this model, because it's going to just cause much more stress and difficulties, okay? So at this stage, if you have gotten everyone's signature, the software should let them sign electronically with their finger on, with their mouse on the document. Make sure
DocuSign or something.
make sure you're using a system that lets them be able to sign it. I like there's like people say wet signatures versus typed signatures. Don't do typed signatures where the person just types their name. And there might be an attachment that says there's a certification that the name is legal and legit. And look, I just like people to put their finger to a screen and sign, okay? Because you gotta make sure you tell them that, because people will always pick the easy way out, which sometimes says just type your name here. And I don't like that. So once this confirmation comes back, my software, the Doc Hub, sends everyone a finalized copy anyway, containing everyone's signature. And Dr. Manousso, I'm not sure if you sign the MSA. Some mediators do, some mediators don't. I typically do.
No, because I'm not a party.
Oh, okay.
Only the parties sign.
Got it.
The mediator's name is sometimes on it, sometimes not. Depends on what we're doing.
Yeah.
But
okay.
They're not a party, so
Got
of course they don't sign. But
So
people are using Adobe signature
Yep.
and I don't want to
DocuSign.
take the time to go over that.
Sure.
I think everybody online right now needs to
Yeah.
work that out, whether you use DocuSign or Adobe, and there will be other ones that come along as well.
Exactly.
And I don't think that's your responsibility right now, Matt,
Yeah.
to go over that. That's
No,
another whole training.
No problem. Yeah. The only thing
Yeah.
I'll say is Doc Hub does integrate with Zoom. So if you want to buy that as a kit,
So
I'm
that's perfect.
just cheap.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for doing that.
So
Thank you.
anyway, that takes you to the end, and now you are finished with the mediation. And my rule is mediator in first, mediator out last. So make sure that everyone starts to leave the mediation until Zona go. Go Zona. Go Zona. Fine, stay. Make sure that everyone's left the meeting, and you can then come on. Go. Give me a second. Go.
Your cat wants to be part of the mediation, huh?
Oh.
I was on one yesterday, and the guy's cat went across. It was hysterical. He had a tail that looked like the guy had a mustache. It kind of like walked right across it was very funny.
That's when you hit print screen real quick, okay? So you can save that. So anyway, that's it. And so now the last thing I wanted to do was go through some settings, talk about some ethics and some security tips, so that you guys can kind of have some best practices. Okay, so let's talk about just some pointers that may not be intuitive, but make sense for when you're doing this. All right. First off, whenever let's talk about neutrality. Okay, impartiality. You as a mediator needs to be front and center and in control of the mediation. I think this online process will allow you to exert more control over the mediation than before. Why? Because before, people being people and wanting to push people around, you have the power now to just click mute. You have the power now to remove someone who's being belligerent. You have the power to have godlike powers over the mediation process. Okay? Everyone needs to know, based on your tone and professionalism, that you are the one in charge of the mediation process. It's not your case. You're not a party. You're not going to be making decisions for these people, but you need to maintain authority. I think this is very important in the online setting to bring legitimacy to the online experience and to make sure people understand that this is serious. It's just like if you were in person. Okay, one. Next, make sure that you are front and center of the screen. Okay, right now I'm looking into my camera directly, and you guys will probably feel that I'm talking personally to you. However, if I'm looking at Cindy Neighbor's image, my eyes are going to the bottom left of my screen because that's where she is on my screen. If I'm doing a mediation with like 4 people and I have different people in different blocks, it's very important that I try to maintain focus with the camera. The best way to do that is to bring well, right now there's like a lot of you guys, but the best way to do that is to bring you guys in the middle of my screen and to have it as close as possible under my camera, so that I am forced naturally to look towards my camera so people can feel that I'm talking to them and not the other way. Because trust me, when you're talking to somebody and you're like, yeah, how are you doing? People are gonna feel really awkward because it doesn't seem personal. And they may feel that you are talking more to them, to the other side, than to them. So make sure that you do that. Next, spotlighting. You have the power to spotlight a video. So right now, I'm going to spotlight myself. Okay? Spotlight video. So what you should see is you should see me big and everybody else is on top in their own boxes. Spotlighting is very important because it will help everyone know that the mediator is to be in the center. Okay? There isn't a right or left part the mediator is on. The mediator is going to be in the center of the experience. Okay? And let me cancel the spotlighting so I can have everybody back. And I can, of course, spotlight anybody else. Right now, I was in speaker mode. By the way, top right corner, speaker mode, speaker view or gallery view. I like gallery view to see everyone at the same time. But just in case you want to, show folks that you are neutral and impartial, do the spotlighting for yourself. It may look awkward that you're watching yourself talk really big, but it will keep everyone in line knowing that you are not anybody's side. Then we talked about the headphones as to why. Spotlight yourself. Don't communicate with the parties beforehand unless, my exception would be for pre-mediation tech support. Look, you want to be able to get these people onto the mediation fast, right? And if you're going to deal with a case where one party is tech savvy and the other one doesn't even own a smartphone, I don't want for the one who doesn't own a smartphone to basically be the one that causes the mediation to drag out because you can't even get them on. So I would say offer the opportunity for you to just do a little bit of tech support. Or if you have somebody in your office, an assistant could do it, just to give people a little bit of assistance to, hey, can you see me? Okay, we're done. I'll see you later at the mediation. And that's it. So that you can make sure the person knows that this works. Okay? I think you gotta be careful, because if you're gonna be taking people's money and they've never done an online mediation before, especially if they're a lawyer and they've never done it, they may not feel this process is gonna work. If you can show someone, look, hey, can you see me? And you're able to communicate with them right away, and then you tell them you'll see them later in mediation, then they know, okay, this is gonna work. I got peace of mind. I'm comfortable with this process. It's gonna work. So the tech support exception is a big one to make sure that people will be able to trust the process. Next, let's talk about security. You gotta lock your mediations. In the last few days, you guys know that Zoom has had some breaches. Okay, when I say breaches, I mean this. There's a big difference between hacking and you leaving your door open. In a physical world, you don't just leave your office door open, right? You close your door. So some of these articles I'm reading where people are saying, oh, I've been hacked. Actually, no, they weren't hacked. What happened was they just didn't bother to turn on the common sense settings you got to turn on for the mediation. Like in your settings, make sure that you require a password. Only the people who are going to be the mediation are going to be there. Next, make sure you lock your mediation once it starts. You can do that as a mediator if you go to manage participants. When you go to manage participants, on the bottom, it's gonna have the option for you to lock this meeting. When you lock the meeting, nobody else can come in. These stories I keep hearing about people Zoom bombing and putting porn in the background, that's because they opened the door. People just came in and started doing really bad things. Hey, you weren't supposed to be here. Well, it's because they got the password from their friend and they came in anyway. So that's a big difference between true hacking, where you got some bot person getting in to do some nefarious acts in your meeting, versus you just forgetting to use the common sense settings and people just weren't doing them. That's not Zoom's fault. People need to turn on the security precautions. Okay, this is why I say, okay, again, password, lock. If you just do those two things, no one else is going to be in your meeting that shouldn't be there. Okay, and making sure that you have a rule. Perhaps you're going to tell people that you should have a right to ask people to turn their cameras around to make sure you can see around them. I don't know if that's too invasive, but I think you may want to hold. Manousso, go ahead. Let me unmute you.
That is excellent. That's an excellent idea. I mean, you're not going to fix it for everybody,
Yeah.
but in the initial part, if people do turn their camera around, I think it's going to give people, the other parties, a little bit better sense of, oh, okay. I mean, somebody can always enter. We understand that. But it's just, maybe it's an artificial sense of security and confidentiality, but it's better than nothing.
It's big.
Excellent idea, Matt.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes. I just don't know if people are going to go for it. They'd be like, I'm not turning my camera around. My bed's messy. I'm like, oh, great. Okay. So next, okay. When you're doing the password, remember, the password works for Zoom, right? But if somebody calls in, because that's they have bad signal and they have to be on their cell phone to call in, you can require a PIN number for the phone. Okay, there's something I started doing later because I kind of thought to myself, well, if they appear by phone, I don't want them to be trying to figure out how to do the password on their phone. But yes, you can just do a PIN number. Okay, in your confirmation letter, just make sure that if they're gonna appear by phone, they're gonna put a PIN number to be able to go in. Even more of a reason to do this is because you can't see the person on the phone. And if you're meeting for somebody who's across the state and that party couldn't fly in, you need to know that you're mediating with who the person is. People ask me all the time, well, the one reason I don't like to do online mediation is because I can't trust they are who they say they are. Well, guess what? I don't think any of you ever asked in the real life mediations for people to show you their driver's licenses. You could have been mediating with fake people anyway, but we always trusted people to do it. So in this situation, you can just provide the password and do the PIN numbers to make sure that only the true people show up. They can still trick you, but hey, what are you gonna do? If you get hacked, like a true hack, or somebody does manage to come in, they weren't supposed to be there, I mean, just cancel the meeting. Do another meeting, it takes 2 seconds. Schedule it and message or email or text the people the new number for them to come in, and you can start a brand new meeting. It's okay. Okay, it doesn't cost any more money. You can do unlimited mediations. Don't enable join before chat, before host. You guys know that under your Zoom settings, you have the option to allow people to be able to show up before you. Don't do that. Make sure that you are there so that you can admit people into your waiting room one at a time as they come in. Okay? If I don't see a reason for people to be there before you just to chit chat. If I'm going to do the virtual a happy hour later, well, that's going to be different. I want people to show up because I don't want to have to be there first. Okay. But always make sure you select, don't enable join before host. If you just do these few points of the password, the locking of the meeting, don't have join before host, and putting PIN numbers on the phones, you shouldn't have a problem. All right. Okay. Then finally, I guess I'm gonna open it for questions. Dr. Manousso, unless you want to say something. I do have. Let me go to the other screen. One moment. You talked about the rooms. We talked about the
You've done a
conception.
very nice job. Very nice job.
We talked about screen sharing. We talked about first in, last to leave. We talked about privacy, confidentiality. We talked about, make sure you buy Wi-Fi. Please have a strong internet. Okay, if you're gonna have Zoom problems, make sure that it's not your internet that's causing it. Okay, because that's one last thing you need is people asking for refunds because they have complete tech nightmares. Make sure children are around. Make sure you don't let people be automatically muted when you start the meeting. Always unmute everyone when they start the meeting. So you're not saying, can you hear me? Can you hear me for the first 5 minutes? Make sure you clear your desktop off. Make sure you turn off the notifications on your laptop, on your computer. That's a big one, guys. I mean, for Windows, it's easy. Just go to your settings and go to the search and type in notifications, and it's gonna come up. And turn off notifications. Your Facebook, your friend requests, all these things need to just be turned off. All parties need to be able to share their screen. So when you're doing child support calculation and the dad needs to share his paychecks, he can share his screen. Guess what? It even works on the phone. If you're using the Zoom app, sharing your screen works on the phone as well, where the parties are able, you can see everything on their smartphone. Really easy way for you to share documents, much better than before. Okay, and I know I'm forgetting something, but please ask me questions.
Excellent. Why don't we just open up 10 minutes of questions? And the questions, we're still recording. So those who are on this call, if it's okay, Mac, we will share, this session.
Absolutely.
A couple people have emailed me that they had to leave, but
problem.
they wanted to know about any Q&A that was,
Sure.
transpiring. So, and it's on your website, I believe, anyway. You've already told them that. You said that at the beginning, I believe.
Yeah, I didn't plan to put this on our website.
Oh, okay, then don't.
Just because
Then don't.
yeah.
Then don't.
Yeah,
Then
I was just for you guys' privacy, actually, because your faces, I don't think I got written consent by everyone.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We
the lawyer
can discuss this later. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Let's get on to questions, and we'll take them for 10 minutes, and then we're going to give a lot of applause to Mac for a fabulous presentation.
Yeah.
Questions, go. Danette?
Quick one. As far as the client's permission
Yes.
to record, or do
You're
you record them during their sessions, and are they okay with that? Do you give it to them?
No.
So I would say under the rules as I know them, mediation is confidential. So I don't want there to be existing any recording of the conversation.
No recording.
Look, I know it's not admissible in court anyway. So I would say the only exception is if you guys had to record for whatever reason I'm not thinking about, get written consent from all bodies.
Nope.
That's all.
For mediation by the ethics of the ABA and Texas and worldwide, there'd be no recording. So you can see that it's being recorded. Yeah. Now, if you're doing arbitration, if you're doing arbitration, that could be recorded because you always record that.
Can you see as the host if somebody has pushed record? Because I know on the bottom of my screen, I have the record button.
So one, I don't know what setting I put in place, but yes, everyone will always be able to see when the screen is being recording. Absolutely. Okay, yeah, that's really Zoom protecting their own butts, really. Everyone will always see that.
Melissa, I clicked it to see what would happen, and it comes up and says you'll have to ask permission of the host to record.
The host.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, great.
So the host controls it, but everybody can see it. So that's only in arbitration, never in mediation. So
And-
that takes care of that.
And I had another question. So at first I tried logging in with the phone and it wasn't allowing me to.
Okay.
Is that something because there's a password on it?
Mhm.
Would that be it? Because
When you say phone, do you mean the app on the phone or your cell phone because you called in? What do you mean?
I just did what I would normally do. Like I clicked the link.
Okay.
So you need to have an app to use it on the phone?
It's preferable. Yeah, look, you can call in with your phone. Like you can
Okay.
use any phone, right, to call
Yeah.
in. However, if you want to have the full benefits of just like if you're on a computer, you should make sure you download the Zoom app.
Got it.
If you have not done it and the clients don't know how to, this is why I told you, just go to zoom.us/support/download. It automatically starts anyway.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, next. Oh, I know David has a question.
Hey, Mac.
Yes, hey.
Great seeing you again.
Oh, hey. It's been a while. Yay.
Yeah, it has been. Two things. One,
Yes.
when you put us in separate rooms,
Yes.
I couldn't get back to the main meeting because when I did, it logged me out and I had to re-log back in again with the member ID. I don't know if I did something wrong or if the system just kicked me out. I'm using an Android cell phone to talk right now.
Yeah. So I've done the role reversal different ways, right? Literally, I had a mediator in my living room, client in my bedroom. And so when I was running back and forth to see what would happen, because I had to test every feature out that I've never even used. When you have the setting enabled for the parties to be able to leave the room, they're going to have the option to leave the room or leave the meeting. So the first question to you is, are you sure you clicked leave the caucus room? Or did you accidentally push leave the meeting?
On mine, I did not have, let's see, I did leave the room, but it didn't send me anywhere. So then I was just kind of like in limbo. And then, so then I had to leave the meeting and then log back into the meeting.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm not really sure because I do know that you're always gonna have two options: leave the meeting or leave the room. Okay. But you did great. If something happens by accident, just make sure you tell your clients ahead of time, guys, if for any reason this meeting gets canceled, please come back in if you get kicked out by accident and make sure I will tell them, go back to start InstantMediations and then type in the code. And that's it. You did great. Because I did notice you came back and I admitted you. Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. You as a mediator will always see that.
Thank you. And the second thing I wanted to suggest is a suggestion, and that is soft snacks. If everybody's eating potato chips, it'll be really annoying.
You actually, I told them that when I saw your chat, but you were coming into the meeting. You missed it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
But we also said you can also mute yourself and eat your loud snacks. So.
All right. Thanks.
Sure. Okay. Who's next?
Anybody else? All right. Well, at this time, I don't think we have any other questions. Would everybody?
I got a question, Barbara.
Okay, David. Sorry.
You have 3 rooms. 3 rooms were created. Can we create more than 3 rooms?
Absolutely. Yes. You can create up to, I believe it's 50 rooms, and you can put up to, I think it's 100 people per room, something crazy like that. But yeah, you can create all the rooms you want. In fact, I see scenarios where, like, as an attorney, I sometimes have a custody case where I have an amicus representing the child, or a social worker, or somebody who has to be who's a party because the court's appointed them. Maybe it's attorney general as an intervener. Well, that third person, I may create a room for them, or I may just have them work in tandem with me, going from room to room. But yes, you have the flexibility of creating more rooms as you need them.
Thank you.
Where does the whiteboard come from?
Yes. So when you share screen, it's going to pop up, share your screen, share your whiteboard, share your iPhone or iPad, or all the other applications.
Oh, okay.
So that's where it's going to be. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, the whiteboard is really cool. Oh, let's talk about controlling screens. Okay. One, you should let everyone be able to share their screen so that people can share documentation. However, let's say you're dealing with a party who's really not tech savvy, right? You want to be able, if necessary, to, instead of telling them like, no, move your cursor right. No, that's your left. You want to be able to let them grant you permission to control their screen. You can literally just move whatever you got to do on their screen. Be careful, never to let that happen in reverse. You don't want a client to take over your screen as a mediator. You can turn it off, but just be careful, because there may be tech-savvy people who may be more techie than you who will try to play games. So just please play with this. I would encourage you, go to your family and your friends, make them fake lawyers and fake clients, and just play with this. I always tell people, don't let the first time you're doing an online mediation be when you're doing a real live mediation. That's like playing with live bullets, guys. Everything could go wrong. Please practice and play with this over and over and over again, and you're gonna be just fine. Okay, I'm really good at it now because I can go from screen to screen and I know where everything is. But it's just best for you to please play with this out so you can iron out the kinks in yourself. Okay.
Any other questions?
Oh, and I got 7. I'm just looking at the chats to see if there's anything I had missed. Yes, you got
You've
it.
done fabulous. I'm going to ask everybody to take off their mute right now so Matt can hear the applause.
Oh, guys. That's a first. That's a first.
That was excellent.